Guten Tag, liebe Zuschauer. Herzlich willkommen bei unserem Film.
Hello viewers, and welcome to our film, A Year with Marklin. This year again we've been travelling a lot on your behalf, including a visit to Canada, the country with the glorious scenery, mountains, rivers and lakes, but also with plenty of railways and railway enthusiasts. It's a long flight, with the sun travelling the same way. Our aircraft left Frankfurt at midday, and after flying for 10 hours, we landed in Vancouver, where it was late afternoon. It wins you over right from the start. In the foreground, the Pacific, in the background, the mountains, and in between, the skyline of a city with nearly 600,000 inhabitants. A relatively young city too, founded only in 1886. The most popular place to spend a day in the open air is Stanley Park, with its 200 kilometers of paths, a great many vantage points, and the totem poles that remind us of the country's first inhabitants. There's a remarkable timepiece in Vancouver, the steam clock in Gastown. Every quarter of an hour it blows its top, so to speak, for all to hear. It's only a few miles from the steam clock to where a genuinely enthusiastic Marklin fan lives. Walter Menzel has devoted his entire life to model railways, both privately and professionally. His model railway store has an excellent selection, and visitors and customers alike are bound to hear all about his favourite company.
My grandfather had Marklin trains, my father, of course. And so I think I've been brainwashed with Marklin. I also believe that with my father and godfather having Canada's largest hobby store at one time, and seeing all the different product lines, I was able to see the quality of Marklin. And in my personal opinion, Marklin has always been number one.
The HO layout in the basement where he lives promises to be unique. The backdrop to this perfect world in miniature came from the Nuremberg artist Peter Bomhardt, who explained the concept to us.
Großstadtbahnhof mit einem kleineren, älteren Bahnhof möglicherweise.
This is a big city station with a smaller, older station too, possibly with an extensive locomotive depot. Then the city area and the city streets, and a small suburban station at a higher level, with other city districts such as this industrial estate here. Menzel's son Taylor agrees. It all fits together perfectly.
Have a nice big layout one day, build one with my father, with a nice bike background like this. It's great. I'd like to have my modern trains like the ICE and all that, the big boys. I like those kind of trains.
We shan't encounter any big boys on this journey, but we shall see any number of freight trains in a breathtaking landscape. The Fraser River Valley is one of the most important traffic arteries in Western Canada. It was opened up only in the second half of the 19th century by the men who surveyed and built these dramatic rail routes. In 2007, there were still plenty of trains to see, immensely long by European standards, often with 100 freight cars. Railway fans always include an imposing bridge if they can. The Cisco Bridge near Lytton is almost a century old. The entrance to the underworld is not far off either. Hell's Gate, a narrow gorge only 34 meters wide, which evidently struck terror into Simon Fraser's heart when he discovered it 200 years ago. Around Vancouver, the countryside is heavenly rather than infernal. Dave Bithell lives in a particularly attractive spot that can only be reached by boat. He too has the Marklin virus in his veins and has converted a whole garage to accommodate his hobby. His latest acquisition, the SBB AE 814. Dave Bithell was stationed in Germany during his military service and became fascinated by model railways, including authentic steam locomotives. All the jewels in his collection get a regular run on his big layout. But what got him started on Marklin?
With a little bit of money we had in the army, I slowly started buying Marklin because I was told they're the best. And I never doubted it for 1 minute. I think the crocodile, the Swiss, is my favorite, but they're all good. There's no such thing as a Marklin engine that isn't, in my opinion, the best.
The model railway obviously gives him a lot of pleasure.
Oh, absolutely. I can't imagine what better. You can come out here in an evening, shut yourself in here and almost transport yourself into a world of make-believe.
It's impressive to visit a layout on the Pacific coast and see the 1954 World Cup train running happily there. Purists might complain that the green trees and bushes, the rocks and miniature figures are missing. But even so, the layout has a simple charm, and everything runs smoothly thanks to digital control. With these scenes, we take leave of Canada and travel to quite a different world.